Introducing Space Dosh, a better way of describing space credits or currency. Looking at other games like Mass Effect or Star Wars, Empire War, or maybe Battlefield 2. I think more people like Battle. Maybe Knights of the Old Republic. I think it is not the MMO, but the game made by Obsidian. There are our visual indicators. That is Space Invaders. That is also Space Invaders. Really messy, a lot of smoke, explosions, and I'm sure it's gonna mean nothing. It's just gonna be, it's gonna contribute absolutely nothing. A short shoot 'em up in which a fleet of tough pirates whack authority to get some cash. Hashtag arcade. This is a Game Maker video game published right after Christmas, 2012, December 26th, for all ages. What else is there to do but actually play the game? Oh, wait. This doesn't even have control. I gotta guess the controls. Yeah, space. 2 types of space, so it's a wordplay. Use the mouse. Oh, the tutorial's built in. I think this might... No, it's not the first. I think Roadkill Bonanza had a tutorial, but this is definitely... Where's the Dosh? This is maybe second time... Not second time. I can't calculate the actual time. Wow, gameplay. I'm shooting lasers and missiles, and I'm avoiding projectiles. Oh, that projectile got me. I'm sorry. I'm just surprised. This is like really, so far this seems like a straightforward Atari game. I've played like a few of these a long time ago, back in, I'm gonna just guess like 2010, on my Nintendo DS, when I had nothing better to do, when Reddit did not exist, and it was called Dig instead, with 2 G's. And people even now are still got the money. And now we're like near automata. We just switch our shoot 'em up positioning. And I got spawn camped. But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, people are it's interesting to think that in all the time, I guess, that Reddit's been around, there are a lot of people who may like argue that there is a... Man, I just realized these like larger spaceships, they have the instant lasers like I do. You can't possibly dodge that, especially when they're off screen. Anyway, a lot of people have described Reddit as going through its own sort of eternal summer, which is a phenomenon. I don't know if phenomenon is an appropriate term. You know, I don't quite study the English language the same way that people in academia do. Where the eternal summer is whenever I think, yeah, school is out of session, where whenever school is out of session, there is an influx of a new audience that arrives to a community. I was gonna say space community, which I guess maybe pirates would like more crew members to use as cannon fodder, but despite that, there is an expansion in the community that occurs for whatever website, for whatever group that, you know, like Steam groups. Anyone remember that? Pretty sure. I can't believe Steam groups still exist. They really should. You would be phased out by now, right? Like Twitch used to have the friend list. Not anymore, right? And I'm sure like YouTube used to have a ton of cool features, maybe that they phased out. I know for certain wait, is it Imager or Imgur? Well, anyway, Imager used to allow you to browse through photos using like a slideshow sort of setup approach. I'm not sure. Layout. Yeah, layout. And then they took that away, and now you can only scroll through it vertically. Probably because they realized it didn't really get them more ad revenue. That's my guess. Because when you scroll through videos horizontally using such a layout, I don't think they really get any more. I don't think they get any more ad exposure. And you notice like there's always a promotion on Imager nearly every day. Every time I like go on there randomly, it's just, yo, what up? Did you know today is sponsored by insert a fast food place here? Yeah. So anyway, Eternal Summer is something I think maybe that has really caught up to Reddit. For a lot of people, they think Reddit is declining in quality, perhaps because the communities become much more, less like focused on quality overall. I'm actually dodging bullets. So my point is, I was trying to say, like, Reddit kind of, it didn't come out of nowhere, but it was in a sense a response to Dig. And now we're at the point where there are responses to modern day Reddit because of the was it the June 31st third-party API changes. Okay, here's Nier Automata Part 2. Wow, it's just... this is my favorite Atari drakengard derivative. Oh, and the ships upgrade themselves too. And what I'm saying is, it feels like to me, just a little bit, that Reddit didn't really take off. Maybe, like for me, like as a old internet user, it didn't seem to really take off until maybe 2011. But I imagine most people would say, well, actually, it really took off. So I heard someone say like 2019 or something like that, or maybe I'm incorrect. Oh, and this is the thumbnail. Wow, the thumbnail is relevant for once. I'm blowing up the, I don't know, the Star Destroyer, an official S-class frigate, battleship cruiser with bullets I can't actually dodge reasonably. And I'm just gonna lose the, I'm getting spawn camp. No, not anymore. And there we go. And that was probably the final boss with projectile Hail Marys, a hail of bullets. If this were Cowboy Bebop, I would have a little bit of a chance of dodging. But honestly, I think most of what Spike does in that show, I don't know, why is it him? You know, why is Spike the actual protagonist in the first place? And maybe that's why he gets well, I'd be spoiling 2 shows at once if I said what I was gonna say. And makes me think like these white chalk, chalk pieces, chalk pieces with streaks that are being left behind. They honestly feel like they're supposed to be robotic drones. I don't know, maybe they're actually giant ships, but I mean, they don't really look like giant ships. No, I'm not giant ships, but like ships. Just ships in general. I don't know, what kind of ship looks like a piece of chalk? I just realized this is like sheep goes to space, right? It's like, why is the sheep piloting a cigarette? And here we are. Yeah, I guess that's just Atari style, you know? Is it lazy? Like maybe Atari devs are lazy. If you think the Golem devs are lazy, well, wait until you see Atari games. Speaking of which, I wonder if there's a way to like kind of prove that proportionally. Whether or not Atari devs are more lazy, more hardworking. I mean, I imagine like a lot of early 80s game devs were genuinely like actually on the cutting edge, right? And like our perspective has been very much skewed with modern technology on how much work it took to make a game like this. Like Jake Clover is one person and managed to make this game, but that's using modern technology. Now you move forward to a more modern standpoint, modern viewpoint, and start to see, I guess, your perspective. I just said viewpoint, like viewpoint and perspective. That's like the same thing. So I'm being redundant, conically redundant. Yeah. So would Golem devs? Well, actually, are the Golem devs even lazy? Like clearly they released a product that wasn't even finished, but at the same time, are they lazy? How do you quantify laziness? Something that I've seen quantified is how hardworking a band is. There's a band that called King Gizzard who tours so much. They make so many albums. I've already referred to them quite a few times throughout the Jake Clover journey. And one may argue that they are actually the hardest working band in recent memory. I don't know who actually is the hardest working ever. I don't know. Maybe people are going to say Grateful Dead. I don't think I got hit by projectile there, by the way. Maybe people are going to say Grateful Dead or Fish because they have basically a new release every time they do something live because of the natural style of jam bands fusing, like, I don't know, psychedelic rock with improvisation. Maybe to the same extent, you could argue someone who does free jazz is actually pretty much able to have a prolific output. Yeah, someone like Peter Brotzman he just does like a new rendition of Machine Gun like 3 times, and it's like, oh, it's so different from the last time he did it. Yeah, that's the thing. It kind of goes similarly for King Gizzard. They have so many live albums that because they have their own jam band influences, you start to know, yeah, King Gizzard has a lot of new takes on the familiar music. Familiar music being the stuff that they play. I'm not talking about like, I don't know, like covering Tame Impala. Yeah, I know, Australian. Okay, covering the OCs, covering the psychedelic porn crumpets, and watch this video that's not even monetized get demonetized anyway because I just said the word porn. By the way, I'm gonna recommend to my friends and family the psychedelic porn crumpets because my cousins really need their psychedelic rock fix, even though they're straight edge. You know, I also have recognized this is a 2-life game. You can get hit twice and it's okay. Although it's kind of still BS because there are some lasers that you cannot possibly dodge. There is no laser defense system, right? The laser that I'm shooting right now, for example, that's actually OP. That's hitscan, but turned up. I'm playing the heavy weapons guy. I'm playing Soldier 76 from Dead Game, Overwatch 2. Quote unquote dead game. It's probably not actually dead, and probably a lot of people play it even now. It's hitscan, and hitscan, you know, it's supposed to be balanced with damage fall off and also spread. This game has kind of those elements, but not really. Just not to the same extent at all. I think like the missile system in this game is actually like it's in favor of the lasers, especially like look how much the lasers cover. It's like I'm playing the sniper, not in Team Fortress 2, but in Gang Garrison. It's right. It's just like instantaneous. Maybe now that, which also brings up a little bit of a familiar question, right? Would lasers ever get to this point, like where they're faster than light? Maybe, you know, like but faster than light. The video game itself says anything. I do not think so. Because you shoot lasers in a game and then you go faster than light, right? Well, there's another segment. I can't make it. I have only two lives, which again, I have to respect Jake Clover for actually giving lives, but the system is inherently unfair. Once again, to quote Monty Python, the King Arthur ripoff, which, well, is it really ripping? I mean, it's like public domain, and then they decided to make a parody of it, so it's not really a ripoff. I'm just calling it a ripoff because it's clearly heavily inspired by King Arthur or something like that. I have no idea what anything like. I barely understand the original story about King Arthur. I don't even know, like, do people actually enjoy King Arthur stories? I don't think so. This is worse than the 2 snowballs and Roadkill Bonanza. This is worse than like the low effort King Arthur fan fiction that professional filmmakers get to create. I don't understand still. How many people are that enthused by King Arthur's storyline? It seems kind of crazy to me. Right, because we're done. I think we're done with like the whole chosen one theme. No one wants that. No one wants to learn about, yeah, bro, I'm the Neo, but it's medieval times and I got to defeat evil in medieval times too. And I don't know. I mean, we already have Lord of the Rings, right? But like Lord of the Rings is pretty cool in the sense that I think Frodo isn't necessarily a chosen one. He's just someone who rises to the occasion, right? And then what was I thinking of? Like Warcraft. Someone like Arthas is the chosen one, but he eventually is led astray. Now that I think about it, it sounds just like Star Wars, right? Luke Skywalker, Arthas, dude with like metal hair. I wonder how many people in medieval times actually had metal hair. I mean, I guess like Vikings, right? Which actually also kind of, you know, prompts the question: are metal fans with long hair trying to just imitate Vikings? I know a lot of black metal just comes from Scandinavia, but it doesn't really. I'm not really sure about that. Like, I could look it up. I don't know. It just seemed maybe they were just unkempt stoners. They're just thinking. I don't know. Why do stoners have like long hair and fur? Because they're so lazy they can't even like cut their hair. They're just smoking all day. Yeah, your brain is the fried egg. And you know what fried eggs like? They like long strands of hair. They like angel hair, which is the alternative name for a type of spaghetti. Spaghetti and eggs. But of course no one has spaghetti and eggs. I think like that actually works, right? I mean, we have like what was it, chicken parmesan, right? So why not the egg? You know, just use a different type of chicken. You don't always have to use like the cutlet, you know? Like if I imagine the pork cutlet for like one of the most notable Japanese meals, I'd just be like, hey, why not just, you know, use a different type of pork if that exists. I actually don't know the different type. Like I guess bacon, right? Like use a bacon cutlet, if that makes sense. I guess all bacon is cut, let alone stripped. Is it? I mean, I don't know how you define a cutlet. Like what like a pork chop, right? You chop the pork? Like, is it because we chop them? I don't know. It just, I guess, there's a lot of things like we just take for granted. Pork chop, bacon strip. What does it mean to strip like bacon? I don't really know like what part of a. I've never seen bacon like fully formed. Like, I've only seen it in pieces. Never seen it like just you fuse it into some sort of an amalgamation. Bacon amalgamation. How about that? Like, you melt the bacon down into liquid bacon, and then you just combine it to make a bar of bacon. That's probably like an actual product. That's like, yeah, they call that a beef jerky. But of course, it wouldn't be beef, right? I mean, you already noted the flaw in that idea. It's pork jerky. But pork jerky is not. That's not actually what it is, right? It's man, what. I guess that'd be more like a burger, because a burger is or maybe scrapple, yeah, huh? Because a burger is like ground beef, and jerky is supposed to be what, like dried and salted, I guess beef, usually beef, and then you have scrapple, which is that's your amalgamation. That's actually melting down so many different materials that you can possibly garner from an animal. And trying to fuse it in a way that what is somehow made by naturalists, but actually pretty unnatural if you think about it. It's a type of like culinary dish. Maybe that's like paradoxical. Something that was like formed naturally, if that makes sense. Like okay, no, I'm sorry. I already messed up. Like something made by people, because it was made like Amish people, right? Over in, I don't know, northeastern United States, Pennsylvania, right? Just the entire state of Pennsylvania unanimously agreed, and Philadelphia was especially in on it too. I don't know, something like that. Just the Amish people in like rural Pennsylvania. But I just mentioned Philadelphia, so I'm contradicting. Or maybe Philadelphia is actually pretty rural if you're from New York. Just like how everything is relative. How this game, like relatively might have taken a lot of work back in the day, but now it doesn't take about, but like if you compare the amount of work it took back in the day, it's the same amount of work that people did on Baldur's Gate 3. I'm gonna keep making Baldur's Gate 3 references. I keep seeing that pop up in my Reddit feed, and I keep questioning Reddit alternatives because of the third-party API changes, and I keep trying to wrap everything up, trying to like connect all these concepts, wrapping them up with bacon. I don't understand where I am right now. This is like a pirate ship game, right? Well, I mean, it's a different ship. Should spaceships be called ships? I mean, they're space, right? Space-based. Space is the place, according to the Seatbelt song, which I hope is actually something that was made up by the Seatbelts, because did I also just mention Cowboy Bebop? Man, what am I doing? I'm just quoting every single thing I've eaten, every single thing I've watched, all at once, every single piece of social media. Yeah, this game's hard. What do people think? Because I could probably like ramble on for another 15 minutes, but I mean, you would want to get to the ending, right? So let's see what the community thinks. QOG has stated that this is nice and is perhaps overly difficult. Solid gameplay, super nice graphics. Completely agree. This is too difficult. It's so strange to give this life system with stocks, Super Smash Bros. Stocks, but with bullets you just can't dodge. Like, I think even the best Path of Exile player like Ben could not dodge any of the lasers here. Gonna be able to dodge entire puzzles full of minotaurs, not lasers in an Atari game. Indie Game Hunt. Again, comments. Love it. Love how your games have such different and distinct graphical styles. This is your most straightforward / transparent / classical game in a while, which is not a good nor bad quality in and of itself, but in this case, it is good. You know what? I might actually push back a little bit here. I think I'd prefer the cryptic games over really unnaturally difficult Atari games, or classical games, or transparent games, or straightforward games. Yeah, this is too arcade. Angeligal, the other constant. Interesting little game. Pretty difficult too. I like the graphics and strange sounds. Pretty fun short game to play. Strange sounds, yeah, sound design. I mean, all I've been noticing is like, yes, you're shooting lasers. I have the one of the tracks playing on in the background because I was too lazy to close the game. And yeah, this unnaturally difficult. I think it's fairly fun, but it's like when you kind of realize when you're playing the game and you realize like all the fun. I mean, how are you supposed to have fun? I'm focusing so much. I don't even care about like destroying the space pirates because it feels like this is more a little bit more of like survival to me than it is elimination. You know, like the Call of Duty search and destroy, but it feels more like, oh, I'm only searching, and of course it's the quest for fire that you're searching for. It doesn't feel like I'm necessarily supposed to be aggressive. Feels like I'm supposed to just not get hit, but then you realize, oh, you can't not get hit, right? You can't get hit because of the nature of hit scan lasers. Unnatural hit scan. Look, I just got hit. I didn't even see my. It's because the one like small cigarette butt had a laser sticking out. Speaking of which, this space pirate is so greedy. They just keep going back for money. Oh, you get refilled your health. Oh, that's cool. Wow, that's a small touch, right? But anyway, this space pirate is just unnaturally greedy. Like already on the brink. Not to mention, like that's like one crew of the spaceship, of the space crew, and the other ones are like, no, we got to keep going. We got to keep moving forward, right? Like, and again, I'm just getting them tossed by off-screen lasers. I think that has to be like one of the worst ways. Now that you think about it, the more the games do this, like off-screen anything, just should not do it. Okay, like I understand there's like Tohu, but Tohu, I think everything is on screen. You got hit by like 1.1 million bullets just easily. But here it's like I'm getting hit by snipers in Team Fortress 2, and everyone hates sniper in Team Fortress 2. Everyone just absolutely dislikes getting hit by the spy's ambassador across the screen. Yeah, it just feels like the more time goes on, and it's already been pretty obvious to me because I play so much Team Fortress 2 sometimes, not all the time. And also, I guess a little bit of like Path of Exile. The more time goes on, the more you realize it's just not fun to get hit by anything off screen. Okay, I'm starting to know. I do see it takes 2 lasers to perish, and it takes 1 missile to perish. I see that is the system that is inherent to the Monty Python reference. And you stop making Monty Python references. Man, it's been so long since I watched The Holy Grail 2. But I mean, that quote is iconic. It's so iconic, the whole like the flaws inherent or the inequality inherent in the system, and then the whole like King Arthur meme. Yeah, I don't know. I pledge right now, anyone ever sees this, I'm never making any more Monty Python Holy Grail references, but Life of Brian, still okay. I'm still open to making references about Brian's life. I don't particularly like care about Brian, but also I think The Holy Grail is a better film. I don't know. It feels more satisfying as a film. Again, it's been a while, so maybe I'm wrong, but man, maybe it's just because like the ending for Brian just feels like he's just there. I can't spoil it. Again, anti-spoiling stream here. And like I do not spoil anything ever. I don't spoil milk. I don't spoil soda. Can soda spoil like at the same rate that milk does? Presumably, yeah. But I'm not one to check. I don't leave my soda out for more than 24 hours. I'm not gonna be like Mr. Mooten where it messes with my mental. No one's gonna get that reference. But there is an animation about that reference, so I mean, at least it exists. And yeah, this game is so difficult. I feel I should move on. Go next into the rest of the review. So on Glitch Wave, this has a 1.45 out of 5. That's a 3 out of 10 out of 2 ratings, and it's going to be. Well, I'll get to the review. It's going to be the usual suspects. Muriel with the 4.5 out of 10. Mandine with the 5 out of 10. Quite lower than he's given the more postmodern or artistic games. And Muriel here with 2 different avatars. New technology. Can you actually imagine that? 2 avatars, like one for your regular appearance and the second for your appearance in reviews. So anyway, Muriel says, "Is it supposed to be beatable? I don't know. Your mouse controls both your movement and aim, meaning you can't attack half the enemies without flying directly into their bullets. The other half fire unavoidable hit scan lasers. True. Actually correct. Wait. Wow, that's recent. Yeah. And wow, and he played this on December 25th. So it was the anniversary nearly and on Christmas. That has to be honestly a little bit of a disappointing Christmas. I'm gonna be honest, all right. I'm sorry. I'm bringing out the laser guns that you can't avoid with hit scan because they're hit scan. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm going too hard. All right, I'll roll it back a bit. Okay, you have to admit, man, this game is really difficult, and it's not like Dark Souls difficult. It's not probably Elden Ring difficult. It's not. It's not like, I got the 3 modes. I'm playing Resident Evil Village in hardcore mode. No, this game is difficult. And yeah, I don't think that this is like normally a game that you are supposed to achieve victory in. But once again, I mean, the space pirates clearly make with money and they can just leave whenever they want, but they're so greedy that maybe that's like the hidden moral. It's about avarice. Don't be like these space pirates. Yeah, just don't do it. Just learn your morals, people. So actually, as this review states, your mouse controls both your movement and aim, meaning you can't attack half of the enemies without flying directly into their bullets. So this is actually such a good way to start off the mechanics. I just straight up copy paste credits Muriel. Yeah, I agree completely. Resource management. How many lives do you have? I should have noted exactly how many. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's the usual 10. Okay. 10 stocks of life. 2 hits by laser, 1 hit by missile. And of course, you have unlimited ammo. Is this fun? In my opinion, no, because it's very difficult to make progress. And as mentioned, the controls are just very, very difficult to actually use for the sake of accomplishing your mission, which also leads to ease of use. The controls lack synergy, difficult to use. So for graphics, pretty much as some other games have been, it's Atari graphics. For appearance, you can note that small pellets equal ships. There are other ships that you can make out that are actually much larger that do look like, the usual pixel ship that you would have seen in like an 8-bit game, and the lasers too difficult to see, and that's probably the main downfall of its appearance. So for soundtrack, there is like a sort of roaring title screen. You can definitely hear lasers, sounds of flight. Can't really hear any explosions. Hear the lasers a little bit, yeah. Those are interesting. Man, yeah, here's some kind of like oscillations of the synthesizer, perhaps. Some soup dragons. That's an obscure reference. Yeah, those are really alien sounds. But it doesn't quite make me think of alien pirates. It makes me think of like I said, sounds of flight in space, but it's kind of unnatural still. It's just not how we usually think of space flight sound effects. Okay. And as usual, this game had a very loud title screen at first, and then you had to turn it down. Yeah. I heard there was like a beeping. I think that was for respawning. I'm not sure. For the story and writing, real quick, space pirates want money. They fight authority for it. They want way too much money though. And it's not like in Red Dead Redemption where they learn to just chill at times. They go all out. So is this game repetitive? I'd say yeah, because it requires a very high amount of commitment, and it just doesn't feel like you're making progress. It feels like you're not making too much progress to naturally make with the iterative learning process. And it feels like the mechanics itself don't really exist to learn and understand. You just don't naturally learn and improve the mechanics. So where does this game stand in the gaming industry? Well, obviously this is the Atari arcade style brought into like a Newgrounds format. I think what could be better is that the controls could be improved, projectile dodging could be improved, and maybe a better indication for how long the campaign is. Yeah, pretty much the stuff like I complain about as a salty gamer. And where does this stand amongst the work of the developer? Well, it is, oddly enough, a return to Atari arcade style. It's not very subversive or meta or postmodern compared to some of the past few games. So that includes Consequent. That includes It Came From Not Here, Monstrosities. That includes Les Realm. That includes Titan Flux Capacity, Verrucht Dinky Timian, Asset Key, Nguyen Spectre, maybe even Sheep Goes to Space if you want to argue it. It also, I think, it's just outright feels like Asaki in the sense that you aren't meant to easily win or win at all. And maybe that's like the secret subversion of the whole Atari arcade style spaceship fights. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that quick for a review, but I think it's mostly been covered. One may usually say for an outro, GG's, good games, Dosh, Night, Fever. Whoa, Space Dosh. Oh, I didn't even cover the views and likes. I don't know. The views and likes are the usual. This has a little bit less than some of the other ones. This might have the least amount now that I am quickly browsing through it. Okay, Explosive Tomato Fro actually has like a similar amount. Space Dosh has one more like than the Tomato Game. All right, well, I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, GG's.